He talks green and gold.
Look at the eight.
This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels.
It is the validation game, or the revenge game, depending on what side of the fence you fall upon. Coming up Sunday night in Pittsburgh. Welcome into the Huddle tonight to the Green Bay Packers. The second time Sunday night football for the Packers on the road at Pittsburgh, going all the way back to 2017. The Packers are 20-17 against the Steelers, including the postseason. Green Bay is 7-9 at Pittsburgh, looking for its first win in the city since 1970. As we all know, 7 of the last 8 games between the two teams in Pittsburgh have been decided by single digits. And both of these quarterbacks have something to prove. One is Rodgers trying to obviously beat the Packers. Didn't leave on the best of terms. Should have FaceTimed me, bro. Meanwhile, the guy that they jettisoned Aaron Rodgers for, Jordan Love, is looking to play a complete game in his best football, just to say, okay, the validation is real, and I'm the man. So we got a Sunday night football contest in Pittsburgh. And, man, I tell you what, I've been talking about this really all week, but specifically today, I'm excited for this thing. I really am. I'm probably as excited as I've been for a game like this with the Packers in a long time, just because I don't even know if it's just necessarily the Aaron Rodgers factor. I'm sure it enhances it, but more so than anything, I'm looking for a good game between two good franchises. You know, basically that's it. Good game between two franchises. So hello to everybody in the live stream. We always love having you on board tonight as everybody continues to climb in the window. We appreciate you being here. Also to all of you around the great state of Wisconsin and all throughout parts unknown, you want to get a hold of us, watch the program, check it out for yourself. You can always do it. We are free. You can subscribe for free. Go to youtube.com. That's youtube.com. Find us there. youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can also find us on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. Grant is there, at Wisco Grant, at Wisco Grant. You can find him there. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and a TikTok as well. And for all of you that listened earlier today, yes, I'm going to try to get the Halloween stuff tonight if it's lit up and going. Otherwise, the wind has been pretty stiff in the area, so we'll see if it actually is still up tonight. If not, I'll get it at some point. Don't worry. But that being said, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Kick TV. All of those places you can find us. Also, the app, which is Wisco Sports Zone. That's Wisco Sports Zone. You can find us there. Take us anywhere and everywhere. Listen to us. Email the program, thebillmichaels at gmail.com. At gmail.com. Then the website, simply thebillmichaels.com. We're on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcast after the fact. And then you can also track us down our television show, which is Saturday night, usually 8 o'clock Central Time. And you can find us there on My 24 TV in Milwaukee. There you go. Grant Bills, how you doing today after doing 47 hours on the air every Wednesday?
I'm doing good. I never know what to say when you come to me to start the show because I've mostly just been sitting here. I had a piece of pizza. That's about it, man. Can and Diet Coke and a sliced pizza.
I grilled my Robert Specialty Meats brats. I had 2 of them, and that was all I had. And I did that right when I got off the air. And I'm sitting downstairs a little while ago, and I'm kind of going over some notes, getting ready for the show. And I'm like, man, I'm really hungry. So I actually made a little bit of chicken soup and grilled cheese. That was my, Kristen calls it my bachelor moment because I don't really do any gourmet cooking when I'm home alone usually. But that's what I made tonight. So
I'd say tomato soup and grilled cheese is as gourmet as it gets. What's she talking about?
Yeah, I do chicken. I'm not a fan of tomato soup. I do chicken noodle. So I get chicken noodle. I misheard. And no, I do chicken noodle and I know people love tomato soup. I'm just not a fan. If it was a big thing of Wisconsin beer cheese soup from our friends out west over there, Buzzer Billy's, I'd be face first in it. I'd still be blowing bubbles in that stuff. I'd miss the show. Yeah, exactly. So it was interesting because today during the show, it came up as somebody talked about validation. You know, we all know Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be, he plays with a chip on his shoulder anyway. Just about every game, he's like Michael Jordan. He finds a reason to be mad and then goes out and tries to execute the best he can. But this game is going to hold meeting. There's no doubt about it. I think he is, correct me if I'm wrong, he is scheduled to speak to the Green Bay media tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah, I think he's going to speak to the Green Bay media tomorrow. So that is going to be an interesting day. Hopefully we get it right away. We're excited about that. So hopefully it
comes right to us and we're good to go. But yeah, it's supposed to be on its way tomorrow. So we shall see. But looking forward to it. Also, that being said, you've got the Packers back at practice today. The Packers, speaking of the Green Bay Packers, the injury report came out, and some guys were back, which is good, back at practice. Aaron Banks has the groin. He was limited today. We know that. Anthony Belton has got the ankle. He was limited. Nate Hobbs with the knee is limited. Josh Jacobs with the calf. He was limited. Xavier McKinney with the ankle and the knee issue. He was limited because they're a little bit nicked up in the secondary right now. Brandon McManus did not practice again. That's a little interesting because it looked like it was just going to be a week or so, but he's still not practicing. Jordan Morgan back with the knee, full participant. Zach Tom, they're taking care of that back and the oblique and the hip and whatever else it actually is with limited. Lucas Van Ness in the foot, they figure it's going to be at least another week for him, so I'm not looking for him to be back at all. Quay Walker has the neck, but he was full today. Christian Watson, limited, but again, back at practice. Dontavian Wicks with the calf did not practice. I don't think I'd look for him in this upcoming game. Evan Williams and Devontae Wyatt, both practicing. Devontae Wyatt with the knee, he was limited today. So there you go. Meanwhile, the only thing that they had today, really, Cameron Hayward and TJ Watt didn't practice, but that's because they just give them normal veterans rest. Calvin Austin, the wide receiver's got a shoulder. He was back fully. Zach Frazier, the center, he was limited. Other than that, everybody's there. There's Will Howard, the backup quarterback, designated to come back from the IR, and same thing with Malik Harrison. But their injury list is minimal. It's like 4 guys. That's it. So the Packers nicked up, putting everybody on it. The Pittsburgh Steelers, not really nicked up. They're pretty much at full strength, pretty much good to go. The Packers are 1-0-1 in primetime games this season, as we know, and the Packers are averaging 33.5 points per game in primetime this year, which is number 2 in the NFL, by the way. If they can do that, if they can get 33.5 points in Pittsburgh, I think they win that game going away. So we'll wait and see. They've averaged 27.69 points scored per primetime game since 2019, which is number 3 in the NFL. And of his last 10 starts in primetime, Jordan Love has completed 210 of 319 passes, which is 65.8%, which is not bad. You'd like to see it go up a little bit. 20 touchdowns, only 2 picks for a quarterback rating of 108.2 in prime time. So he likes it when the lights are on. So there you go. A little breakdown of the Packers coming into this game. So, and by the way, we all know Green Bay has 4 11-plus win seasons under Matt LaFleur, the most in the NFC, and tied for number 3 in the NFL since 2019. Kansas City, in Buffalo, and Baltimore are right there as well. But nevertheless, Matt LaFleur, which is when we get into the discussion about Matt LaFleur, good coach, bad coach, all that stuff, I think you look at the overall win record and people want to give the credit to the players and Aaron Rodgers, and you go on and on. You start to look at the enormity of his record. And yeah, there's a microscope on the team this year. There's no doubt about that. But you look at the enormity of the record and you go, wow, they had Aaron Rodgers. Well, the team played well, but the losses seem to be laid squarely at his feet by many fans. But I just wanted to give you that because you do have to understand the win ratio and the statistics that kind of coincide and accompany Matt LaFleur. And against the AFC under head coach Matt LaFleur, the Packers are 20-10, which is a 667 win percentage. That's number 2 in the NFC, by the way. That's number 2. So there you go. He's been pretty good against the AFC teams. So a lot of things there to be positive about. And after the Week 7 contest, the Packers are one of 2 NFL teams with only 1 loss this season. Indianapolis is 6-1. Packers 4-1-1, as we know. And the NFC North is the only division where all 4 teams have a 500 record or better, by the way. And the Packers have won 13 of the last 15 games against teams from outside their division. And Green Bay's streak of 11 straight wins against teams outside of the NFC North, which is the longest streak by any Packer or by the Packers in games played outside the division since 1970. So there you go. Dropping stats today all over the joint. Thanks to the game notes going into
It's going to be an awesome game.
So you would assume when you start looking at, I was reading all this stuff. I'm like, holy crap, I didn't realize all this stuff. There's a lot there, man.
football night in America, they're going to keep throwing live shots to the stadium, and you're going to see Rodgers warming up and yucking it up with maybe some of his old teammates. The visual is, although I don't know if we talked about this earlier, I don't like the jersey matchup, and I almost never complain about this stuff, but the Steelers announced that they were going to wear their the
bumblebees.
They're just so ugly.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, crap, because the Packers are going to have their road white and yellows, and that's going to clash. And then the Packers announced they're going to wear their all whites. It's like, why didn't we just do the straight up thing here? This could have been a classic under the lights jersey matchup, and it feels like both teams kind of ruined it.
The Steelers are wearing their throwbacks, and if you've seen them, they look like bumblebees. They really do. They look like bumblebees running around out there. So.
Bumblebees mixed with Lederhosen, kind of. It's just a weird. I mean, the Steelers throwbacks have never looked good in any iteration. They always look ugly, and they're kind of designed to look ugly, which I get. Yep. Same with the Packers throwbacks, but not on Sunday Night Football.
No.
Not in this matchup. Just play it straight down the middle.
All right, let's do this. We're going to step out. When we come back, Matt LaFleur spoke today. And we're going to hear Matt speak. Bottom of the hour, Mike Clemens going to join us. Top of the hour, Mark Schofield from SB Nation. Bottom of the next hour, we go through our picks. This show then flies by. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Huddle on this Wednesday night. We always appreciate you being here and hanging out with us. That's for damn sure. This portion of it brought to you by our friends at LD's Barbecue. Go to ldsbbq.com. That's ldsbbq.com. Main Street in East Troy, Wisconsin. Award-winning barbecue, sauces, all that kind of good stuff. And now they've got some beer cheese soup going on down there. They've got some baked beans going on down there. So much good stuff right there. And this is kind of stick to your ribs kind of stuff as the weather starts to turn. You know what I'm saying? So there you have it. Main Street, East Troy, Wisconsin, ldsbbq.com. Matt LaFleur, next.
Let we go. This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back in. The Bill Michaels Huddle on this Wednesday night. Packers getting ready to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know what the hell their stadium's named anymore, to be perfectly honest with you, because it was the big ketchup bottle. Heinz Field is what it was. And it's
Acrisure, I think.
Is it Acrisure?
I think so.
Acrisure. Yes, it is Acrisure Stadium. 7:20 Central Time on Sunday Night Football. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark are all going to be on hand. And the Great Big Open with Carrie Underwood, all that kind of good stuff. And everything that is Sunday Night Football and all the pageantry going to take place as the Packers try to knock off Pittsburgh to go to 5-1-1 on the season, which would be fantastic if they could do that. In the meantime, this portion of it brought to you by our friends over there at Potawatomi Sportsbook. If you're not going to go to the game in Pittsburgh, that is a terrific place to sit down and watch the game. I'll tell you that right now. That's a huge venue and a massive, massive screen there at Potawatomi. Go to paysbig.com. That's paysbig.com. Check it out for yourself, sport. And you can even put a little wager down if you choose to do so right there at Potawatomi. In the meantime, Matt LaFleur talking to the media. Let's take a listen to what he had to say today.
First got here, and then can you maybe talk a little how it grew and through time, through the years, what it was like?
Yeah, we had a great relationship. I thought it was a great collaboration of just all of us coming together and spent a lot of time together, especially that off season during COVID, of trying to clarity to our offense of what we wanted to be and what we wanted to do and why we wanted to do it. And there was a ton of great conversations that led to us going out there and having a lot of success together.
Jordan, what do you think? How do you think Aaron was with Jordan, and what did you see that Jordan maybe took from Aaron or learned from him? Or
yeah, I thought he was awesome with him. He did a great job, just being supportive with him, trying to give him nuggets all the time. And I think Jordan leaned into that, and just the mastery that he has of our offense. I think of the protection schemes that we do, and I thought it was great for both people.
when it comes to play style, can you see any influences of Aaron in the way that Jordan plays the position?
I think at times, yeah, but they're both their own quarterback. But I think there's at certain times you can see some similarities.
What are those similarities or influences?
Well, I think it all starts with just the footwork. We're both teach the left foot forward and gun, and Aaron was a great model for just how to perform the correct footwork on whatever play it is, and just the detail that goes into it. So I think there's some similarities there.
Matt, you guys have had Micah for almost 2 months now, and he's been probably as advertised on the field for you guys, but I guess maybe behind the scenes, what has maybe stood out to you the most, or what's maybe been unique about him to this point?
I think he's done a great job of coming in and fitting right in and being one of the guys, and the guys embracing him. So you can definitely feel him out of practice, just how hard he practices. And he's been great just on the field, off the field. He's a very intelligent guy as well. That always helps in terms of just his ability to pick up what we were doing at a pretty fast rate.
With him being player of the week, is that something that you recognize in the locker room, or is it kind of
Of course, absolutely. We recognize that in the team meeting, and congratulate him, and then it's all right, on to the next.
Were you as shocked as everyone else that he never had 3 sacks in a game before? That seems like
I was. I questioned Wallers after the game. It really should have been a 4th, but unfortunate penalty right there.
Mike, same way too, by the way.
Yeah, I think Mike was right.
Pittsburgh gave up 32 points week 1 to the Jets, but since then they did pretty good up until the Cincinnati game. What changes did you see Mike and Terrell make in this season so far?
I think just in comparison, because obviously it's not an opponent we see every year, but you can definitely see there's some similarities between 2 years ago. I think they've upgraded some of the talent. They still got the front, which is phenomenal. It's one of the best in football, but they've upgraded in some areas, and I think they've gotten much more aggressive with their scheme. I mean, a lot more man coverage than we saw a few years ago. So it'll be interesting to see how they try to attack us. But they're very competitive, and they've really feasted on, sacks and takeaways. And you see it in every game. I mean, there's a lot of carnage in the backfield, and they do a great job of getting the ball out, whether it's through interceptions or forcing fumbles. But their style of play is as good as it gets in this league.
Matt, what does Ramsey look like at this stage of his career?
He can do it however he wants to. He can play inside, outside. Shoot, they got him back at safety. He's obviously a very talented player, but you can tell in order to be able to do all that, you better be pretty intelligent, and he's just that.
Matt, what's your plan with Devontae Wyatt this week, and what's your plan with Brandon McManus this week?
So Wyatt, he'll get out there for practice today, and we'll just see how he progresses through the week. Obviously, he's got to prove it. And McManus, he will not be kicking today. He'll kick tomorrow, or at least that's the plan as of right now.
You know what, Colby and Carl will play well for you, but what would it mean to get Devontae back?
Well, those guys have done an outstanding job. I think really all four of those guys that have gone in there, I think, Stackhouse and Brinson have played pretty well as well. But Heavy D, he's been really impactful in a lot of these games, both in the run game and in the pass game, getting pressure on the quarterback, doing a great job just playing his role. Really talented. I think he's really coming into his own, this year.
Matt, when you got Micah, it obviously meant fewer snaps for LVN, but it also meant Kingsley's situation was a little fluid. What do you think of how he's responded and what he's given you, even though his snaps haven't been the same?
Yeah, I think, you can feel his impact. JJ does a great job going in there and playing the game the way it's meant to be played. He plays with great physicality. He uses his hands well. He's been a real force, I think, in our run defense. But yeah, it's just all these guys, every situation is going to be a little bit different in regards to how many snaps you're going to get. And you just got to make the most of them when your number's called.
You face obviously like every great pass rusher this year. What does TJ do that's a little bit different than some of those other guys you've gone against?
Well, they're all similar in regards to their ability to get to the quarterback, but it's not just TJ. I think he's the lead dog, but they've got a lot of rushers. Herbig's been very impactful on the edge. Obviously Hayward inside. And some of the role players have done a great job as well. They got a really formidable front that does a great job, not only in the pass game, but in the run game as well.
How did Rodgers help you when you first got here with your early on in your career?
In what aspect?
Having a quarterback that was a veteran and playing as well as he was.
Yeah, it was just, like I said earlier, it was a really good collaboration. Obviously, you come in with some ideas of how you want to do things, and then you get with a guy like him and you learn some other things. Like, one of the things that I thought he does as well as anybody in the game is just how important and the use of cadence is. Like, there's been nobody like him, in my opinion, in the history of the game. Just his ability to get free plays. And I know that's just a small example, but I'm not going to come in here and say, hey, this is how we're going to do this, when he already does it at a really high level. And so there was a lot of, I would say, give and take in regards to what we were going to do offensively, and just working through that process. And the only way you can do that is you got to spend a lot of time with one another. And there was a lot of back and forth. And I think we got to a really good spot.
I asked you on Monday how he looks. Now that you've had maybe some more time, how's he look?
He looks like he can still do anything. What's surprising is for such an old man, he's still moving around pretty good too. So you've seen it in multiple games. I mean, he had an off schedule the other day versus Cincinnati where they drop 8, and he's running back and forth the field, throws a touchdown pass. Obviously, the one to Freiermuth, that 70-yarder he got out of the pocket, made a hell of a throw on that one. The arm strength is still plenty there. You see it you especially saw it on the Hail Mary. I mean, I don't know many guys that can throw the ball over 70 yards in the air. I'm not quite sure how far it went, but had to have been at least 70 yards. It's still pretty impressive what he can do. He can throw with pinpoint accuracy. There was one, I know the ball ended up getting picked off, but it's 2-man on DK, and he threads the needle, and the DB just ripped it away. But it was a great pass. It's just this guy is extremely accurate, and he can, if you give him just a sliver of light, he can fit the ball in there.
Is it even possible to throw a schematic wrinkle at him that he hasn't seen at this point? And if not, how do you beat a quarterback that has seen all of that?
Yeah, it's really, really, really difficult. The best way to beat a quarterback is to get him on his back, because like I tell our guys all the time, it's hard to throw when you're on your back. So our pass rush is going to have to be on point, and we're going to have to do some things in terms of our coverages, and sometimes you got to hit in terms of what they're calling versus what you're calling, and hopefully that he has to hold the ball a little bit longer than he'd like, and you can win a matchup up front.
Yeah, how hard is it to get him on his back though? You mean
It's very difficult.
It's time to throw is like second passes.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with, if you give him some room, he's going to take advantage of all the run alerts that they're going to have. And shoot, we saw that for years. Just his ability to get the ball out of his hands is so quick, and it's so accurate. It allows those guys to run after the catch. I mean, I showed a bunch of them to the team today in regards to just they're going to try to get DK the ball, and as well as their other receivers, but just the variety of different ways that they do that, whether it's down the field throws, whether it's off their play action game, or it's those quick run alerts. And he's dangerous in every facet of that.
You talked about what he looks like now, and you talked about the first year with him. But when you guys in 20 and 21, how do you view kind of those 2 years, the connectivity you two had and the way he played? I mean, is that kind of the gold standard of what the offense could look like when things are really clicking?
Yeah, I mean, we were rolling, and we had a lot of great players around him, which I think football's more than just a one-man show, but certainly there were some situations where we were missing some guys, and he was still out there, facilitating the offense and making it move at a high level. So, and that's what the great quarterbacks do. They can do less, or they can do more with less. And, when those situations arose, he always delivered.
So there you go. That's Matt LaFleur talking to the media a little bit earlier today. A lot of questions about his time with Aaron Rodgers. A little bit of getting into Jordan Love, the offense, and this team getting ready for what's upcoming on Sunday night. But when we come back, we'll talk about Sunday night, what's going on up at Lambeau Field. Mike Clemens is going to join us, and Mike will bring it to us and let us know today as the practice got underway and all that kind of good stuff. We'll get into that discussion coming up here in just a few. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Social House, Haus, West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls, Brookfield, right there on the edge. You can stop in, and a night like tonight where the Bucks game is going to be on. Sunday night, we're going to have the Packers game on. They're going to have NFL games on, Badger games on. You name it, they've got it. That's the Social House, home of the Tiger Burger, baby, right there on West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls, Brookfield. Stop in, tell Dan Della and his whole staff we said hi. Mike Clemens joins us next on the Bill Michaels Huddle.
This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Your Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back in. Good to have you on board tonight. The Huddle in this portion of it, Mike Clemens' appearance, brought to you by our friends at Bay Motel in Green Bay. Quiet, cozy, comfortable, just a mile from Lambeau Field. And they've got the restaurant right next door. They do. They've got home-style cooking 7 days a week. If you're going to Green Bay for anything, the Bay Motel right there, the motel and the family restaurant, go to baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com. Again, baymotelgreenbay.com. Mike Clemens standing by. Michael, how you doing, pal?
I'm overwhelmed.
Really? How come?
Because, for the last 3 years, I come in on a Wednesday and I can give me 15 minutes. I can pretty much tell you, okay, here's what's going on in the quarterback's mind. Here's what's going on the leading the players on defense. Here's what the coach thinks. Here's what I know about the team that we're playing so far. And we are back into that unbelievable, endless universe and zone of the Green Bay quarterback drama. I mean, I walked in the door this morning.
Oh, God.
And there's about 20 new faces. Like, where the hell are these people from?
Right.
Like, it's not the playoffs yet. And, it's Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't even had a chance to see what he said today in Pittsburgh. By the way, the Steelers have been nice enough. I'm going to be on a Zoom with Rodgers tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And they say it's only 10 minutes. And I said to somebody, when did we ever talk to Aaron Rodgers for 10 minutes?
Right.
I mean, I talked to him for 10 minutes on Fridays.
That'll be two answers, 10 minutes. That'll be two answers.
Right.
Well, and one guy said, and if so-and-so in our group asks a question, that'll take a minute. That's 10% of the interview right there. And I'm like, wow, how did I get sucked into this rabbit hole? And it's because, I mean, I've sat through LeBron James stuff and Michael Jordan's, 6-part series and all that. But you go from Brett Favre, the dog,
mm-hmm.
The wild man, the gunslinger, the off-the-field stuff and all that drama, and then 2008 and the meltdown with the team and the Jets and the Vikings. And then you go to Aaron Rodgers, just the opposite, the cat. I've described them as one's a dog and one's a cat. This guy's very private, very calculated. It's one of the reasons he dropped in the draft. He has to come back and serve behind this future Hall of Famer at number 4. And he manages to be the next Hall of Famer, back-to-back Hall of Famers. But then the team, they draft his replacement, and then COVID hits, and he goes off on the deep end in terms of politics and stuff like that, and it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that Jordan Love the beauty that I realized today, what makes Jordan Love special is that he has somehow figured out how to, this is still a complicated business, but he keeps it simple. And that's not to be overlooked because he's a smart kid and he talks fast and he processes fast, but it's not easy. That might even make him a better captain down the road, is keeping this thing on the road as opposed to way up to this side like Favre or way over to that side with Rodgers. So let's start off right now, if you will, please, with, I think, what could be one of the most important plays of this 2025 season for the Green Bay Packers, and that's 4th and 2 against the Cardinals with about 2.5 minutes left on Sunday out there in Arizona. And he was asked a great question today by Doherty, who said, when did you realize you come to the line and you got a play called for zone and you're going to have Tucker Kraft crossing across and try and get him open to the sideline so you can get a first down and keep a drive where you end up scoring the winning touchdown to go ahead, not a field goal, but a touchdown. And instead, you realize they're in man, and now you're screwed because, you could have man coverage on Tucker Kraft. And here's how he answered that today.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, they kind of had the 3 safety defense they're kind of doing, trying to keep, 42 was guarding Tuck, but he tried to, he was disguising man coverage from depth. And, by the time I went to can the play, it had motion, they started coming down, and I knew we were getting man coverage. But, the play we ended up running was still a good play versus man. Obviously, it's not, we had kind of a man beater on, but, I still like what we had. And it just comes down to winning those one-on-one matchups. So, we're just going to let it eat.
So he saw it, but he didn't change it because he knew they had a pretty good play called, and it was just down to the guys to go and beat man-to-man.
And he said, right when they snapped the ball to me, that's when he picked it up. That's pretty good, right?
Right. Yep.
And you're talking about Jordan Love's growth and development. I mean, that's a crucial play. And also, reliable hands on Tucker Kraft. So, the next thing is when you ask, a veteran leader now in Josh Jacobs in the locker room, I asked him, overall, what did you think of this game? We found a way to win, right? And that's the key that you and I said this summer. If you're looking from this Packers team from, beating the Cowboys, but coming up short against the 49ers and then, up and down with, Jordan Love's injuries last year, et cetera, et cetera. What are you looking for? This is they've got enough talent. You just got to be like the Chiefs and somehow figure out a way to win games week after week. So I asked Jordan today, coming back on the flight from Arizona, what are you most proud of that you guys were able to score that touchdown, not a field goal? And, like the Dallas game, no, you scored a touchdown and still could put the ball on the field for the Cardinals with over a minute, and your defense was able to hold them to a fourth down.
Both. I think being in that position, going for it on fourth down and finding a way to keep that drive alive and go score a touchdown instead of kicking points was huge. I think we talked about it after the game, like anytime you get down towards the goal line, we can hand the ball to Josh Jacobs. I think we're all confident we're going to be able to punch that in. And then obviously, we're left with, I think there's a minute and some change left on the clock. So it's like, all right, the defense got to come out here and get a stop because, they're going to drive down, obviously they got to get a touchdown to win it. So, I was definitely proud of the defense to be able to come up with a stop and obviously force the Hail Mary. And, I think anytime you come away with a win in that situation, you're going to be happy.
Interesting, Mike, when you said we haven't heard Aaron Rodgers speak. There are some quotes, but he talked about specifically Jordan Love, said he was a great kid. He really is. I enjoyed my time with him. I'm not surprised by how he's playing. He's playing great. His progression was like mine, kind of where you just your first year, you're getting your feet wet. Second year, you feel a little bit more confident. But by the time the third year comes around, you're really ready to play.
And when Goody picked Jordan Love, along with, Matt LaFleur was in on the deal, like, hey, I like this kid out of Utah State. It wasn't like there was a spotlight on Jordan Love like there was on Aaron Rodgers in 2005 during that draft, right?
Right.
Jordan Love was a pretty good kid, but he wasn't a top 10 pick, right? So Jordan Love comes as this kid, out of Bakersfield, California, and out there in Utah State. How was it being a young kid expected to back up and replace a future Hall of Famer like Rodgers?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I think just coming into an organization who, they've had a lot of success at the quarterback position, and understanding, who you're taking over for. A-Rod had done a lot of really good things, won a lot of MVPs, won a Super Bowl. So definitely a lot of success he's had here. It's going to be definitely a tough transition. But I think the main thing for me was trying to block all that out and just understand that for me, this is a great opportunity. It's something that I've been waiting for 3 years, being behind him, watching him. So, I knew in the back of my head I was ready. And how best can I go out there and try and block all that, extra noise out and just play my game and make my own name here.
Mike, the scenario was the same. I mean, Rodgers sat 3 years behind Favre. They had to make a decision. They did. Love sat 3 years behind Rodgers. They had to make a decision. They did. It just was handled different because Favre really didn't do a whole lot for Aaron Rodgers.
No, and listen, like when you've interviewed Favre, when you say to him, okay, so instead of them getting you a wide receiver, in 2005 they draft Aaron Rodgers. And here you're saying, can we get Randy Moss? Can we do this? Can we do that? And they get you a quarterback. Mm-hmm. So, and what did Favre say to you? It wasn't my job to train him. Okay.
Exactly.
The kid can come into my quarterback room. Craig Null and the other quarterbacks I had, they were my hunting buddies. Okay. Right. So if this kid doesn't hunt, fine. Well, of course, as you know, Aaron Rodgers took this personally, this guy's treating me like crap. And then after Brett left Green Bay and got traded to the Jets, then you got Aaron Rodgers at the Super Bowl breaking down, crying, talking to Michael Irvin on his radio show at the time, Brett won't even call me back. All this, come on, suck it up. So Jordan was asked, so when you got here, obviously Aaron, though, was more sensitive to that. I'm not going to do to this kid what Favre did to me that first year or two. How did Aaron ever talk about how he claims that Brett Favre ignored him in 2005 after he was drafted?
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that, I've heard stories about, obviously his time coming into the league as a, same kind of situation, getting drafted here as a rookie with a quarterback that's already been here. So, I've heard a lot of stories, but, it's one of those things where, I was in the room, who knows how it was. But, you have heard Aaron talk about, he wanted, my relationship with him and my kind of experience in the quarterback room to be different from what he had. So, I think, I got a lot of respect for how he handled it, the way he went about me coming in. And like I said before, he welcomed me with open arms. He helped me out a ton in the quarterback room. I learned so much from watching him and then also just hearing him talk in the media room. So, like I said, he was nothing but great to me.
Mike, it's interesting because Aaron Rodgers said because they've had common opponents, they've always stayed in touch, but because they've had common opponents, they've talked more this year. Him and Jordan.
Interesting, because I'm so loaded on stuff today. I haven't had a chance to see what Rodgers is saying today.
Yeah.
Jordan was asked today, when's the last time you spoke to Aaron?
No, we texted a couple weeks ago.
You did?
Yeah.
Do you regularly text? If so, what do you talk about?
Yeah, we shoot each other texts every now and then. A lot of it is just, saying good luck throughout the season. A-Rod texted me and was, talking about some of the plays we've been running and some of my footwork, things like that, complimenting me. So, obviously it's great to be able to hear from him. I got so much respect for him, and anytime he gives me pointers, things like that. That's the stuff you want to get feedback from a legend like that. So we got a great relationship. Obviously, I'm excited to be able to see him Sunday, go against him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and then Rodgers took over his first year, Love took over his first year, had to take his lumps, and really started to play well in the second half of that year.
Yeah, and I got news for you. At the Cowboys game, remember when Favre came out on the field and was on the sidelines, and he got to shake hands with Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
After the game, and last year I thought it was very poignant. People forget about this. When Jordan Love had to miss 2 games, just 2 or 3 years into his career as the starter with the knee injury from Brazil, and he comes back after Malik Willis had won a couple of those games. He came to work that day. He came on game day wearing a number 4 jersey, a Brett Favre jersey, which was kind of cool to say, how did Favre do this for 16 years and never miss a game? And in the locker room in Dallas, I said, have you ever met Brett before today? He goes, oh, yeah. Ah. And you know something? Him and Rodgers have also probably been together since Aaron left here. There's these corporate things where they fly in these 2 guys, and it's all hush-hush, and they get paid to be there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Private parties and stuff like that. So he has seen Aaron in person over the years. Aaron invited him to some event, that he could go to. So that's going on. So I asked Jordan Love this today. The day after Aaron Rodgers gets traded to the Jets, how was the Packers locker room? How was his team after Aaron was out of the building?
I mean, he left and, I was taking over the role of starting quarterback. So, obviously I think there's going to be impact anytime your quarterback leaves. Quarterback who's been here for a long time is leaving, and there's going to be kind of that, transition from him leaving to me taking over. So, it's a little bit different, obviously. We talk about, for me in that kind of leadership role, something I had to build up and kind of grow into. But yeah, it's just like anything. I mean, anytime you have guys leaving, you're losing obviously friends, but really good teammates. So there's going to be a little bit of a transition period. But I think everybody accepted me very well. Obviously I was here for 3 years, so it's not like I haven't been around. But I think guys embraced me taking over that starting role.
Let's do this. Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. More of the Bill Michaels Huddle with Mike Clemens, who's live in Green Bay. Stay tuned. We got more coming up after this.
Oh, yeah. This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who happen to have Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's as simple as that. That is for you guys to talk about. We've got a lot of respect and love for Aaron. I mean, what he's done here is a Hall of Famer. Like our past together, we had a lot of great moments, but this game is not about that. It's about going to Pittsburgh, Sunday Night Football. Our guys will be jacked up. Their guys will be jacked up. It's about the Green Bay Packers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Welcome back. It's about the Steelers, not about Rodgers. Coming back to, I know Rodgers said it's not a revenge game, but I don't necessarily believe that. He keeps talking about a lot of people in the organization he really likes and he misses. But we all know there's some people that he doesn't. And, the FaceTime me bro thing still rings very, very loud in many people's ears when he ended up leaving the organization, coming out of the darkness and such. Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. And, Mike, I can't help but think that as much as he does appreciate a lot of the people that are in the organization, there's a few people that he does not. And he's got a chip on his shoulder coming into this game, no matter what Aaron says.
Yeah, and another thing is that Week 1, there was all this national excitement over the Pittsburgh Steelers win over the Jets because Aaron Rodgers got his revenge, right? And it's like, did anybody see that game? They barely won it. I mean, Justin Fields and those guys put over 30 points up on this vaunted Steelers defense, and Aaron Rodgers couldn't close the deal. He had to get, he needed a 60-yard field goal to win that game over the now winless Jets. So everybody was celebrating, the Steelers are going to be great. Well, then the Steelers defense did get good over the next 4 or 5 weeks, up until they played who? Joe Flacco and the Bengals on Thursday Night Football, and they gave up another 30 there, and they lost to the Bengals on the road. So it was interesting when I asked LaFleur, I was trying to ask him about what changes has he seen for the defense. He reverted back to the tape he's watched when they played the Steelers last, when it was Jordan Love's first year. And they lost it in the last second. They had the ball in their hands and they couldn't convert. They got beat by Kenny Pickett and those guys, and they couldn't close the deal, and they lost 23-19. That's when the receivers and the Packers all got together and had a meeting, saying, like Jaden Reed in that group, and said, we've got to do better than this. And so I asked LaFleur, how has this Steelers defense improved this season?
In comparison because obviously it's not an opponent we see every year, but you can definitely see there's some similarities between 2 years ago. I think they've upgraded some of the talent. They still got the front, which is phenomenal. It's one of the best in football, but they've upgraded in some areas, and I think they've gotten much more aggressive with their scheme. I mean, a lot more man coverage than we saw a few years ago. So it'll be interesting to see how they try to attack us, but they're very competitive, and they've really feasted on sacks and takeaways, and you see it in every game. I mean, there's a lot of carnage in the backfield, and they do a great job of getting the ball out, whether it's through interceptions or forcing fumbles. But their style of play is as good as it gets in this league.
You know, Mike, this is a good football team that's gotten better throughout the season. The Packers have as well. They check some of the boxes. So I look forward to it being a good game, but I'm really looking forward to see if the Packers can play a complete game coming up on Sunday night.
Yeah, and without the distraction of the obvious,
right?
Jordan Love against Aaron Rodgers. But you can't avoid it because, I mean, clearly there wasn't an empty seat today in the auditorium.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what? It's Aaron too. I mean, Favre used to have long press conferences too, but it's all about Aaron. He just makes this thing bigger and deeper than maybe it necessarily needs to be. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'll take any suggestions for questions for number 8 now as it goes by. And that Zoom call tomorrow, okay?
Well, make sure you FaceTime me. That's it. As long as you do that, you're good to go. So there you go.
Good point. Let's just hope that we can connect with them, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because if he's in the retreat or something, or if he's got a bucket next to him, he ain't doing nothing. So there you go.
I pity my friends that cover the Steelers. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Well, they eat it up. I mean, they live what we lived for so many years, and it was always entertaining. Good stuff. Mike, appreciate it, pal.
Thank you, Bill.
There you go, Mike Clemens. Another hour of the Huddle coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Micah Parsons is your NFC Defensive Player of the Week. The NFL made that announcement this morning. The edge rusher had a career-high 3 sacks and 11 quarterback pressures in the Packers' win over Arizona last weekend. It's his 4th Player of the Week honor, but last week was last week. Now everyone's attention is turned to Pittsburgh and their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Former Packers QB going to be looking to become the 5th quarterback in NFL history to beat all 32 teams. Kick on Sunday is set for 7:20 in Pittsburgh. Turn to the Badgers. They're prepping for a trip to number 6 Oregon on Saturday. They're doing so with many calling for the jobs of Coach Luke Fickell and Athletic Director Chris McIntosh after a 5-game losing streak. The latter came out in support of Fickell on Monday with a letter to fans saying they intend to invest more in the football program. But with the booze, empty seats, and chance of fire Fickell greeting the team the last few games, Fickell says the only support is from each other.
And right now, the most important support's inside that locker room, making sure building these guys up and their confidence to be able to go out and play the game of football and the things that they love and remember why they're doing it. Obviously, when you don't win, that's very difficult. But my job is not to worry about where the support's going to come in the future. My job is to make sure that, most importantly, that we can support the guys right now in this moment, in these opportunities, and find ways to grow and be better and get better.
Kick on Saturday is at 6.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucs will get their season going tonight against Washington, going to mark the return of Chris Middleton, who said he hopes he doesn't tear up during the tribute video before the game. Tip is at 7. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Are you ready for some football? He talks green and gold. This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels.
Welcome in. Oh, my goodness, on a Wednesday night. The Bill Michaels Huddle, we are back at it. Getting you ready for Packers and Steelers coming up Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football, the NFL
on NBC.
Sunday Night Football. Packers heading into Acrisure Stadium, which used to be Heinz Stadium before it was Three Rivers Stadium. After they tore Three Rivers down, it became the giant ketchup bottle. And now the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin, face off against the Green Bay Packers. There you have it. Coming up Sunday night. Can't wait. Can't wait for this game. That being said, Mark Schofield, our buddy from SB Nation. Always great to talk to Mark. Always great to kind of pick his brain and not just talk about this game, but about everything in the National Football League. Mark, how you doing, pal?
I do well, Bill. Great to be back with you this week.
Absolutely. So I want to deal with the Packers and the Rodgers thing last. There is so much going on around the rest of the National Football League in many different facets. First and foremost, we've seen some football that's been, to say the very least, somewhat wild, I guess. When you start to look at some of the games and some of the division, if we would have said that it would have been a 5-2 New England Patriots team leading the AFC West at this point, I think we would have all thought, we're smoking something really, really good. But that's where they are. Then you got Pittsburgh at 4-2 with Baltimore at 1-5, Indianapolis at 6-1 at this point in time, and Houston's nowhere near to be found. The Denver Broncos are leading that division in the AFC West. Completely topsy-turvy right now in the AFC.
Oh, completely topsy-turvy. And, we could start with the Patriots. And even myself, as, an unmitigated Patriots homer, did not see this coming. And I was just talking with Grant. You look at their schedule going forward, and they have Buffalo, and they get that game at home, and they've already beaten Buffalo. They get Baltimore in December. That game's down in the Inner Harbor, but who knows what the Ravens will look like. There's a pathway where New England can get to double-digit wins. Now, the question will be, who have they truly beaten other than Buffalo? And maybe that's a referendum on where the Bills actually are when those two teams played, and we'll see what that game looks like again in December. But they had a very favorable schedule going in, and they've made the most of it. And then you get to those other divisions you mentioned in the AFC. I think people might have looked at Pittsburgh's schedule and said, okay, where they're at right now is possible, but I don't think many people had the flip side of that, what you mentioned, which is where the Ravens are right now. And now we're hearing word in the past couple of hours that Lamar may be out yet another week. So the Ravens could be stared at another loss, depending on how things go. You look at what we have in the South with the Colts and how well they've played, the Texans and how they've struggled. That's, again, topsy-turvy. I think we're now at the point now where we're beyond the so-called small sample size. It might be time to truly take Indianapolis for real. And Denver has been impressive. That was a historic comeback. And so it's been an absolutely topsy-turvy start to the season in the AFC. It's made it great for people like us, but it's made it harder for everybody to figure out where we're going next in this soap opera that is the NFL.
I am not going to. It's early in the season still, even though we're going into week 8, which I can't believe. But Jonathan Taylor has been nothing short of fantastic. He's on pace to have the 5th best rushing season in history. They're 6-1, and they're about to face the Titans, who are 1-6. Most likely, the Colts are going to go to 7-1, and he should have a big game. Do we start talking about Jonathan Taylor as the Offensive Player of the Year?
I think so. We know how MVP type things go, and people might want to put Jonathan Taylor into the MVP discussion, which, while valid, we know that is going to go to a quarterback. It's just that's the way the game is played now. But you're right, as far as Offensive Player of the Year goes, what he's doing is phenomenal. The numbers that he's putting up, the production, how he's doing it, what he's meant to that Colts offense. Yes, Daniel Jones is the big story and the one that people will be writing about. And yes, if they keep winning, he'll probably get some, in addition to Comeback Player of the Year votes, MVP votes. But you look at what Jonathan Taylor has done, the numbers he's put up. 10 touchdowns already. We're not even at Halloween yet. That's an absurd number for a running back. Closing in on 700 yards. And that they're going to keep feeding him the football. That offensive line has been playing well, and he's been making the most of every touch, every carry, every opportunity. I think he continues on this pace. That's your Offensive Player of the Year.
I want to talk about the Vikings for a minute. There's the discussion where some fans want to see Carson Wentz remain, but the whole offseason was about J.J. McCarthy. They got rid of Sam Darnold, who got him there, just couldn't get him past it, and they said, nope, it's J.J. McCarthy. There's a talk now, well, he didn't look that good before he got hurt, and maybe he needs to sit a little bit more. They go and play a tough Chargers team this weekend. Do you keep McCarthy on the? I don't think they keep him. If he's able to play, he's got to go, right?
I think as soon as he's ready to go, he's going to play. I think you're exactly right because, this idea that, maybe he needs to sit a little longer, in terms of learning and things like that. What are you going to then have him out for 2 years, basically, on that rookie deal when the whole point of having that quarterback on the rookie deal is maximizing that contract value, maximizing that window, loading up around that player. I understand that maybe it wasn't what you truly wanted to see from him when he started at this beginning of the season, how he looked, and it was a bit up and down from a performance standpoint. But Carson Wentz is not your future. Carson Wentz is not the quarterback that you might believe is going to get you to where you want to be as a franchise going forward. J.J. McCarthy could be that future, and you need to figure that out. And having holding a clipboard and watching from the sideline, maybe it was a benefit for him during his rookie season because coming off what happened in Michigan and gives him a chance to sit and learn, and he had the knee injury anyway. Now it's time for him to be playing. So once he's healthy, I think he's going to be on the field.
Which I completely agree with. I mean, they spent the whole offseason praising him, and you got to put him out there now. Otherwise, you're admitting there's some type of a mistake there. Speaking of a mistake, the Dolphins at 1-6, taking on the Falcons at 3-3. If the Falcons and Bijan Robinson and company just dump truck them, is that the end of Mike McDaniel?
I don't think so, and here's why. In talking to people around the Dolphins, they've got them that short week against Baltimore on a Thursday night in Week 9. I think even if they get blown out this week, because of that quick turnaround, because of the short week, it's a tough situation to have an interim coach come in and get that team ready to play on a Thursday night game. But I do think that, look, if they get blown out this weekend, then yes, Friday morning, regardless of what happens in that Baltimore game, that's when the axe will fall from Mike McDaniel. I think because of the way this schedule is set up, he's probably going to get 2 more games. But I do think that if they lose, certainly in embarrassing fashion, or even if they don't, that still is probably going to be what happens the Friday after that Thursday night game against Baltimore.
I can't believe that he came out and said, because obviously Tua had the whole thing about, players only meetings and guys not showing up and kind of threw some of the leadership under the bus. But I can't believe he started his press conference off going, hey, what do you expect out of Tua after benching him in this last game? Oh, well, not to throw 10 interceptions. It was like, wow. You talk about taking a shot at your own quarterback. Holy mackerel. I mean, it seems to me like he's dead man walking at this point, right?
It does seem that way. Again, talking to people around that franchise, talking to people that cover that team on a day-to-day basis, it seems like that's where this is trending. And it seems like he knows it. And what's amazing, honestly, is you can make the case that wasn't even the worst statement made by somebody in the AFC East about their own quarterback this week, because you have Woody Johnson at the owners' meetings basically not only driving the bus over Justin Fields, saying, if we could complete a pass, it would be good, but then backing it up and going over him again, basically saying that you're not getting enough out of the quarterback position. I mean, between what Mike McDaniel said about Tua and then Woody Johnson, Justin Fields and Tua, those are 2 quarterbacks that probably don't feel pretty good about where they are right now with their respective teams.
Let's talk about the Ravens, and you just mentioned Lamar Jackson. There's rumors that he's not even going to play this week. Again, they're facing the 4-2 Bears. The Bears, by the way, that's a team that's starting to feel it, and Ben Johnson's got them playing pretty good, and we could see Caleb Williams be the first ever 4,000-yard-plus passer in Bears history. So when your Bears go into the Ravens this weekend, if the Ravens are without Lamar Jackson, I don't know what kind of a chance to give them, but you talk about a team that's really starting to kind of feel themselves as possibly a playoff team and over 500, that's the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and I think what's been interesting about what the Bears have done in recent weeks is their run game. I mean, obviously, hiring Ben Johnson, you have Caleb Williams. The headlines were all about the passing game and what you were going to get out of Caleb Williams. And yes, he's certainly taken some steps forward here, but that run game now is an extra element for that offense, what they've done in recent weeks, getting that run game going. And that's going to be a problem for Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore's defense has been a thorn in their side all season. They've had some injuries, and yes, Lamar being out doesn't help, certainly because now sometimes you're faced with an offense going 3 and out and you're right back on the field. But that Ravens run game has struggled, and with the way this Bears ground attack has produced in recent weeks, that's going to be a huge problem for the Ravens. Now, again, looking at the Ravens and where they are, they're in trouble. I mean, I understand that, look, you might get Lamar Jackson back. You might be able to hang around until he does. The Steelers, they just come off that loss to Cincinnati, so you're really just 3 games back, and you get them twice, and so there's a chance to really get back into the mix. But, you drop to, 1-6? Where do you really look at things, especially right before the trade deadline? You're at 1-6. You could potentially be 4 games, out in the division. That's a bad place to be, especially not just in terms of getting to the top of the division. You'll have still 2 teams in your way. You start thinking about, wild card run. You're going to have a number of teams standing in your way. It's one thing to be that number of games out when you're just you and that other team you're comparing yourself to, but you've got to hurdle other teams just to get into the mix. That's a very tough place to be.
I want to go back to the Jets. The Jets this weekend going into Cincinnati and Paycor Stadium, where it's a different jackpot Joey. It's Joe Flacco and not Joe Burrow. Did Joe Flacco, has it just been the fact that he just hasn't had the proper weapons around him? Because I'll tell you this, the guy certainly looked really good against the Steelers the other night.
I mean, the one thing about Flacco, and this has been true throughout his entire career, is even at this point of his career, he still has that supreme confidence in himself and in his right arm. I mean, he was that way when he was in Baltimore. He was that way when they drafted Lamar, and he still thought he was the better option. He's been that way at every stop where, certainly not an athletic quarterback to begin with, certainly not an athletic quarterback at this point in his career, but he has that not only ability to put a football where he needs to, especially in the downfield passing game, but the willingness to be aggressive in those moments. And now with Chase, with Higgins, it's arguably the best receiver tandem he's ever had. That makes him a little bit dangerous. And I know we're getting to the trade deadline, and there's, do they trade Trey Hendrickson? Do they trade Logan Wilson? Do they make other moves? They're just 1 game out. They just beat the Steelers, the team that's leading that division. They've shown that, hey, we lost Joe Burrow, but at least for this past week, Joe Burrow gives us a chance to win football games. Now, he could have a clunker along the way. We've seen that from Flacco. We've seen the 2 to 3 interception games. He had some already this year with Cleveland. So, there's that possibility as well. But with what we saw Thursday night and what it seemed to be happening with that passing game with Chase, with Higgins, they could be dangerous here these next couple of weeks.
Tell me about the Buccaneers. Buccaneers lose the other night. Mike Evans goes down halfway in that game. He's gone for the season with a broken collarbone. How much does that change that offense and Baker Mayfield's capabilities to throw the ball downfield and their playoff hopes of being able to continue to strive, even though it's a weaker South, their strive to get to the postseason?
It is a weaker South. And I think the Buccaneers are perhaps right now that classic, glass half full, half empty sort of team. You can read into this a number of different ways. You can look at the fact that even though they lost to Detroit, even though they've now lost Mike Evans, they've won a number of close games. They've won a number of one-score games. Baker Mayfield has delivered a number of fourth-quarter game-winning drives, fourth-quarter comebacks. That's the type of thing that as a team you can build on, you can feed off of. You have that ability that post-game, fourth quarter, you believe you're going to be able to win. The flip side to that is it's not like they've played great teams. You look at some of these one-score games that they've won, they're against teams that you probably don't have in the sort of upper echelon of the NFL, depending on whether you're looking at record, whether you're looking at team rosters. I mean, a one-score game, against Texans, one-score win over the Jets, one-score win over Atlanta. Like, those aren't the types of one-score victories that really inspire a ton of confidence. And then you start thinking about the players that they're missing on the offensive side of the ball, the receivers that they're missing. Now you're probably going to be without Evans for perhaps the rest of the season. It's tough to see that adding up to a deep playoff run. They might get the benefit of being in that division where, with the Saints where they are, with the Panthers where they are, they're probably going to be in a good position to win that division. But beyond that, it's hard to see this being sustainable. That's the glass half empty kind of approach.
The big rumors floating around out there that Jerry Jones might need a pass rusher. Go figure. But I can't really see him making any kind of a big deal that's going to get him a pass rusher. But the Cowboys are now 3-1 on the season, and their offense looks to be really clicking. Pickens has been a huge find for them. They've been able to bolster their offensive line a little bit, and the defense still stinks. But give me your thoughts on where the Cowboys are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of nailed it right there. The offense is good. They found something, in the run game. They found some stuff up front on the offensive line, and the defense is a problem. The defense is going to give up a ton of points. And, I know we're not living in the old school era of offense wins games, defense wins championships. I think now, we've seen you can have a very good offense and overcome a poor defense and win a title. But having a very good defense still helps in today's NFL. And they need to find some answers on that side of the football. Like you said, I don't think, we saw the rumor yesterday with the Max Crosby trade. I don't think we'll get something like that.
No.
But, I mean, they might swing a trade for, like, a Phillips from Miami or somebody on that, like, lower echelon edge of pass rushers to try to bolster that unit. But it's not going to be an overnight fix, and it's probably not going to be something that they can fix with what's going to be available at the trade deadline. And so they're going to have to find a way to either schematically get some better results from that defense or just keep outscoring people. You can outscore people in November, maybe in October, but once you start getting to December and January, that type of playoff football atmosphere, sometimes it's a lot harder to just simply outscore your opponent. You've got to get some stops. You've got to get some half fields, some turnovers. Right now, that defense doesn't look capable of doing that when we get to that portion of the schedule.
When it comes to Sunday night, the storylines obviously revolve around Aaron Rodgers, but is this, and one of our listeners brought this up, it's not necessarily the Aaron Rodgers revenge game. This might be more so the Jordan Love validation game. If you're going to look at this as a storyline, what intrigues you the most about this game coming up on Sunday night between the Packers and the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers and company?
Well, I mean, Bill, you've got some brilliant listeners because I think that's a great angle to look at this. Not the Aaron Rodgers sort of revenge game. This is more the Jordan Love redemption. This is more the Jordan Love, validation type of game is a great word I think you just used because that was the decision, to go in on Jordan Love. And for years, the years that I've been coming on this show, that's always sort of been an undercurrent of each discussion is, where are the Packers with Jordan Love? Is he truly the answer? Is he going to take that big step? Has he taken that big step? Is this a team that will win games because of Jordan Love, not with Jordan Love? And Sunday night is perhaps the ultimate test of that there. That kind of environment, that kind of atmosphere, what we expect to see on the field Sunday night. Rodgers and, his history with the Packers is going to be a major storyline. When Chris Collinsworth does his slide in, the first thing he's going to be talking about with Mike Tirico when we see him on the screen. But how Jordan Love plays in this game, whether he lives up to that environment, that hype, that emotion, and everything that's going to surround it, and if he delivers on the field Sunday night, that's, I think, the biggest story to me.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to Sunday night. Mark, it's always great to get you on, my friend. We certainly appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week, okay?
Already looking forward to it, my friend. Enjoy Sunday night. We'll talk next week.
There you go. Mark Schofield, SB Nation, joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline. Always love to chat with him. Go around the NFL, all the drama, all the soap opera stuff that continues to be the NFL. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's always there. We got Sunday night football coming up, and that is going to be drama-filled that night to kind of culminate a weekend of NFL football. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Huddle, plus the NFL picks coming up here in about 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let we go. This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
The Zone Blitz pregame bash is back. Every Wisconsin home game 2 hours before kickoff at the Blue Moon Bar and Grill. And this year, do I have something special for you? It's a perfect snack for game day or any day. Wenzel's Farm Pro Snack Sticks. Come see me and I'll hand you 16 grams of protein to fuel you through the day. Wenzel's Farm offers that and so much more. Crafted in small batches using premium cuts of meat, perfectly seasoned, and naturally hardwood smoke. Check out wenzelsfarm.com. Made by pros for pros.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back in. Packers getting ready to head to Pittsburgh. Taking on the Steelers this weekend. This portion of our program brought to you by our great friends over there at Suburban Harley Davidson. Suburban Harley Davidson. They're closed this Friday. They've got a private event going on, but Saturday they're back open. And if you're looking for things as we get closer to Halloween and such, if you're going to be out doing a little riding or maybe out doing the trunk or treat thing, they've got all kinds of things for you out there. So good stuff. But family owned, been open 50 plus years on Main Street in Thiensville, Wisconsin. This portion of the program is brought to you by our friends at Suburban Harley Davidson. Suburban Motors. Suburban Motors and Harley Davidson. Go to suburbanharley.com. That is suburbanharley.com. By the way, a little basketball note to the Bucks up 25-12 right now on the Washington Wizards. And a nice little homecoming for Chris Middleton, an emotional tribute to him. I know they lined the halls inside the Fiserv Forum as he came getting off the bus and walking through the halls down below to go to the visitors' locker room. And he ended up getting a nice reception and such because he did a lot for this city. There's no doubt about it. So Chris Middleton getting a nice welcome home. In the meantime, this is from Stan. Stan says, I like the fact that this is a prove-it game for Jordan Love. Mike Clemens said he's a very smart kid who seems to handle the pressure well. Is it getting better in your thoughts? That's a great question. And when you're talking about, is it getting better? My assumption is you're talking about, is he handling the pressure better? When I was reading the stats a little earlier, and I was talking about Jordan Love and some of the things that he's done, he started 4 Sunday night games.
11 touchdowns, no picks, with a quarterback rating of 118.6. A quarterback rating of 125.3, 123.8, and 118.1. The Packers are 3-0-1 in those contests dating back to 2000. Love is the only NFL quarterback to post a 115-plus quarterback rating in 4 straight Sunday night games. So you go back to 2023, Love leads the NFL with a passer rating of 121.1 in Sunday night games and is tied for number 1 in the NFL in passing touchdowns for Sunday night games. And Love's 121.1 quarterback rating, passer rating in Sunday night games is the second best since 2000, right behind Drew Brees. So, yeah, I'd say he's handling the pressure pretty well. Sunday night certainly seems to suit him. But this might be a different pressure. This isn't just going in to face an opponent. This isn't facing the Bears. This isn't going into a hostile environment on Thanksgiving Day to try to take on the Lions or going into Dallas for a playoff game. This is kind of validation. I don't know if he thinks of it that way, though. You know, I mean, you listened to him talk a little earlier with Mike Clemens. There's a different level of maturity there now. So, yeah, I'd say he's handled it better. I say he's gotten consistently better. It's Jordan Love. If you look at the numbers, just the numbers, you're like, wow, boy, he's really begun to take off. And the Packers have hit on something, right? We all know there's these little things along the way. So a few mistakes here and there that if he eliminates the majority of that from his game, look out. It could be, and again, I don't want to put cart before the horse here, knock on wood, but it could be the first franchise in history, in NFL history, to hit on 3 straight MVPers at the quarterback position. I don't dare start to talk about Hall of Fame and all that crap. Okay, I don't want to get into that. But he could qualify. I mean, they picked him last year to start, contending for an MVP. And we know what that happened with the injuries, the groin injury, the knee injury, it kind of derailed all of that. So you clean up just a few things. He's that good. Sometimes it takes learning not to do the same thing twice or 3 times or whatever when you start to make those mistakes. So we'll see. We'll see what happens coming up on Sunday night. But yeah, I mean, he's handled that pressure, and hopefully those statistics kind of give you the facts when it comes to the pressure. He's handled that pretty well, to be perfectly honest with you. All right, let's do this. We're going to break. When we come back, we'll get into the NFL. We'll start to make our picks, which if that sounds like a shark circling you in the water, that's the way it's kind of been with our picks. So don't go anywhere. We're going to return. More of the Bill Michaels Huddle on this Wednesday night. Stay tuned. Our picks coming up next.
This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. They want to remind you, coming up, when the Green Bay Packers head down to Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears. We're going to be there. We are going to be there on Saturday, December 20th, heading down on Friday. Going to kind of make a weekend of it.
We invite you to do so with us that whole weekend. We're going to be down there. We're going to be doing our post-game show, the Green and Gold post-game show, live from the Shy Bar inside the Sheridan Grand Riverwalk. And they have special rates and all that kind of good stuff. So if you're thinking about going, call them direct. We'd love to see more Packers fans down there joining us. It's always a great time of year. Plus it's kind of a I don't want to say it's like a post-Christmas shopping time of year because it's actually just before it, but because they still have specials and deals and stuff. And you can go down there on Friday, do a little shopping, Saturday, do a little shopping. Then you go to the game on Saturday night, Sunday, you hang out, and you head back home. Not a bad way to go. Spend your time down there with us at the Shy Bar in Chicago if you're going to the game, or maybe you just want to come down and do a little shopping and hang out with us for a Packers party. We're going to have one. Again, call them direct, 312-464-1000, 312-464-1000, 312-464-1000. There you go. It is now time. Grant, I don't know if this music should sound like Sharks in the Water because we have not done well or not. I don't know specifically what we did last week. I got to think it was a little bit better.
It was better. It would be hard to be worse.
Right.
So last week you hit 8 of 15. I hit 10 of 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had a good week last week. So you're
Okay.
up to 47 of 108 on the year. That's 44%. I'm at 57 of 108 for 53%. I rounded the 100th point. So
nice.
We're actually doing okay considering we really bottomed out there for a couple of weeks. And as always, we're just one amazing week away from being right where we need to be.
Right, I know. Right?
Always. That's how gambling works. It's funny. Minnesota, it feels like they've been overseas or on Monday night. Like they just haven't had a lot of normal Sunday games. They play tomorrow night in Los Angeles facing the Chargers. The Chargers at home favored by 3.5.
I am taking the Chargers and the Chargers to cover. Not only do Thursday night teams that travel tend to lose, but you're right. They have racked up a ton of miles, and now they're going to the West Coast to SoFi tomorrow evening to try to get themselves a win. And have we heard yet J.J. McCarthy or Carson Wentz?
I'm looking right now. I'm picking the Chargers either way. I guess I'm just more looking because I'm curious. And it looks like Twitter doesn't want to load now. All right, well, again, it's not going to change who I pick. I'm going to take the Chargers as well. Why can't I find anything? News. Vikings to start J.J. McCarthy on Thursday. Or Carson Wentz. Yep, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought. Yeah, there you go.
I'm taking the Chargers either way. To the Sunday noon games. Miami is in Atlanta. The Chargers, the Falcons favored at home by 7.5.
I am going to go all day long with the Falcons by 7.5. It just feels like, and every time I've done this, though, with the Falcons, they've let me down. But it feels like Miami is on the verge of just completely imploding. And this is going to be the implosion game. Now, the last time this happened, Miami surprised me and got a win. But I'm going to say that the whole back and forth with Mike McDaniels and benching Tua, and it's ugly. So I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons at home, given the points.
The Falcons are a weird team to bet on. We both picked them last week and they lost, which means I feel great about picking them this week. Right. I would be tempted to go Miami to cover a big number. Had Atlanta just played great last week, but I'll take the Falcons at home to cover 7.5 because I feel like they'll bounce back. They're better than that. They got good players. Right. The Jets are in Cincinnati. Here's a number that would have been unbelievable 3 weekends ago. Cincinnati is favored at home by 6.5.
I am going to take Cincinnati for two reasons. One is Justin Fields is done. Woody Johnson's publicly ripped him. His coach has kind of ripped him.
Kind of insane.
They're flailing. And all of a sudden, don't look now, but Joe Flacco looks decent. Now, granted, 7 touchdowns, 6 picks on the season. But he's got something going with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. He's like, wow, I wish I had these guys my entire career. And I think that they are going to do some damage. The 6.5, I think, is coverable. So Cincinnati by a touchdown or more.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take Cincinnati at home. They get the win, and they continue to move on. And the Jets are just foundering again this year. I don't know what the Jets' schedule looks like the rest of the season. This might have been at one point their only chance with Browning to get a win, and then Joe Flacco comes in, and I think that all went out the window.
So I'll take Cincinnati as well, for all the reasons that you just mentioned. The funny thing about Woody Johnson putting Justin Fields on blast like that is it's not like their starter got hurt and they have to play Justin Fields.
Right.
They gave him $40 million, $30 million guaranteed to come be their guy.
Right.
Which we talked about last week.
And he kind of earned it. He looked good in Pittsburgh, but this has been a train wreck.
Put it this way. He deserved another opportunity to maybe earn a starting spot. He did not earn $30 million guaranteed. And the Jets we talked about this last week. Who are they bidding against?
Right.
Like Mac Jones gets $6 million to be a backup or whatever.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones making way less than that. No. So it'd be one thing if he was a backup and they were stuck with him, but they invested seriously in him. It's what bad franchises do. Cleveland is in New England. Drake May playing as good as any quarterback in football, and the Patriots at home are favored by 6.5.
I'm going to go with the Patriots. 5-2 the Patriots are. Patriots to win, cover. I like what they're doing. Their defense is really good. Dylan Gabriel's giving them a little bit of a spark. 3 touchdowns, no picks. But, Myles Garrett obviously is going to be a train wrecker. But this is Drake May. If Drake May, here's the concern. I want to go New England, 6.5, the whole thing, no problem. But this is going to be the best defense he probably faces.
Yes. Yep.
So if they get the win by the 6.5, and the reason I'm giving them the 6.5 is because New England's defense is good. I don't believe in Dylan Gabriel. So I'll go with New England and the 6.5. But this is going to be Drake May's. People won't look at it as this, but I'll look at it as if he puts up points against this defense, that cat's real. He'll be earning it.
Well, and they really haven't played other than Buffalo on the road, which was a huge win.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of Tennessee, Miami, crummy teams, right? That's who they've been playing. I just saw Mike from Chippewa Falls is coming on the live stream. That's Ambassador Johnson to you.
Right.
I forgot about that last year. I'll take the Patriots as well. Drake May's slinging it right now. And I think Vrabel can scheme around Myles Garrett.
Drake May's got 12 touchdowns and only 2 picks.
And his deep ball accuracy, man.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's throwing to, when Tua got Tyreek Hill or when Josh Allen got, no, he's got Diggs, but an older version of Diggs. Right. It's Pop Douglas and Kayshon Boutte. It's been really. And it's not like
the go-to guy in the zone because he's got 4 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs doesn't have a touchdown yet this year.
And it's not like they're running the crap out of the ball. Like they've been fine running it, but yeah, it's really been all Drake May. It's been impressive. The Giants are in Philly after blowing a 20-something point lead in the fourth quarter. The Eagles just got their much-needed win, and they're favored at home by 7.5. That's a big number.
That's a tough one. Philly's favored by 7.5.
Yep.
I'm going to take the Giants to cover. I don't think the Giants win, but I'll take the Giants to cover.
That's all they have to do.
I'll do that. I just Jackson Dart has given them a breath of fresh air. It's not like he's just off the charts, but the guy that is, who's got 6 touchdowns, Scattaboo. Scattaboo has more yards from scrimmage than Saquon Barkley. Barkley's got 504 and 4 touchdowns. Scattaboo's got 587 and 6 touchdowns. Now, Wanda, they don't have their main receiver anymore, and that's part of the problem. But Wan'Dale Robinson, he's got a couple of touchdowns on the season. So does Theo Johnson's got 4 of them. We'll see. And A.J. Brown's tweeting more stuff out that's cryptic and all that kind of crap. I'll take the Giants to cover.
I'll take Philly to win. This feels like a coin flip, so I'll take the other side just to be fun. And Philly winning in Minnesota and doing some things in the passing game, maybe that rolls over into this week. We'll see. We'll see. I don't have a great lean on that. Buffalo coming off a bye, favored at 7.5 at Carolina.
I got to go Buffalo to roll.
They kind of have to in this spot, don't they?
They really do. Bryce Young stinks. 11 touchdowns, 5 picks, a quarterback rating 84.4, all that kind of crap. Okay, that's great. Josh Allen is demand, 11 touchdowns, 4 picks. They got a decent defense. Derek Brown has been really good. Ashawn Robinson's been really good for Carolina, but I don't like Carolina. I don't like much about Carolina at all, even at home. So I'm going to Buffalo rested up, coming out, noon game. I'm gonna say Buffalo gets the win and gets it and covers.
I think so too, and they kind of have to. If they lose this game for whatever reason, I don't know. Something's up there. Something will be smelly. Chicago's in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson's back at practice, and don't look now. The Ravens are favored by 6.5. Funny how that works,
right? And Lamar Jackson, they feel, is going to play.
I can't imagine that number would be where it is if they thought otherwise.
The amazing thing about all of this is Derrick Henry only has 483 yards. I gotta go with Baltimore at home. This is, first of all, Baltimore has to win. Has to. They go 1-6. It's pretty much done. You've already pretty much blown your season. You're 7 games into the season, and you've got 1 win. Baltimore has to win this game. It's whether or not they cover. I'll take, God, I hate to do this because I feel like Chicago's got something going on right now and they're feeling really, really good about themselves. Maybe a little too good. That's what I'm banking on. So I'll take Baltimore to win and to cover.
Oh, I want to take the Bears, but I don't think I'll forgive myself. So I'll take Baltimore too. They're just too good. They have too many good players. They're too well coached. They're at home. think you just get a shot in the arm when you get your quarterback too. I think that'll bring the best out of everybody. All right, the last noon game, and then we can break for the 3:00 slate. San Francisco's at Houston. Houston, interestingly enough, favored by 1.5 at home. That defense is real.
Yeah.
And they got players. It's just, you watch that offense on Monday Night Football. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're bad.
I'm going to take San Francisco on the road. The reason being is Christian McCaffrey's almost got 1,000 yards total already. 6 touchdowns on the season. And they've been able to figure out how to win. They're 5-2. They don't show signs of stopping. And I'll be honest, C.J. Stroud, for everything that he was billed in his rookie season, which was an amazing campaign, is it him?
I don't think it's all him.
I don't think it's all him, but he's cooled off and he's gotten into some bad habits.
He's not the transcendent lift everybody and everything else up guy. At least he doesn't look like that right now, which doesn't mean he sucks. But that offense is...
Yeah, I'm going to go with San Francisco to win and cover.
I'm going to go with Houston because I love their defense, and I don't know how San Francisco on the road is going to do anything against that.
Yeah.
When your number one receiver is Juwan Jennings. I'll probably be wrong. I'll be mad, but I'll take Houston at home.
Well, you've been better this year than I've been, and I'm struggling with it.
Hold on now. Hold on. This game is in Houston, right? Let me check here. Let me triple check.
It's in Houston.
San Francisco, or rather the Texans were in Seattle Monday night until midnight.
Yeah.
And then they probably didn't fly back. They probably didn't land. You know what? I'm going to change my pick. San Francisco's more rested.
Yep.
Houston's on a short week. They got Kittle. They got enough. I'll take the Niners. That offense in Houston sucks. I can't let myself pick the Texans.
More of the Bill Michaels Huddle, the afternoon slate, and the Green Bay Packers. All coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. We got more this Wednesday night.
Oh, yeah. This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. On this Wednesday night. Always enjoyable. Thanks for being a part of the program as we continue to make our picks and run all throughout the NFL. We went through the day slate, the noon slate. Now we get into the afternoon games network-wise and making our picks, which have been somewhat successful this year at times, but there's been a couple of weeks in there that have been dumpers. But back at it. What else do we got on the docket, Grand Bills?
You never let a bad week gambling define your whole season. You just ignore those. We focus on the good stuff.
No, it's not until you're homeless that you realize something went wrong.
Correct. Until then, you have a shot. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. The Bucks coming off a bad loss in Detroit. They lost Mike Evans. They're favored on the road by 4.5.
I'm going with Tampa Bay, given the points. And the reason why is because they got beat. And they looked bad doing it. Baker Mayfield. Everybody said, well, Baker didn't have a good game. Baker didn't have a good game. But that was due in part to the defense that was being played and the pressure that was being put on him. Hurried his throw a little bit. There was a couple of guys off their routes a little bit. But nevertheless, I look for Tampa Bay to bounce back, even without, although Mike Evans is a huge weapon to lose. Huge. But they still have Igbuka. They've still got Bucky Irving. They got still got Rashad White. They got some guys that they can still move the ball to, but Baker Mayfield's going to receive a really big challenge now without Mike Evans, no doubt about it. But I'm going to take the Buccaneers to win on the road and cover.
I'll take Tampa. They're better, and I like Baker and Todd Bowles after a loss. I just trust them. Yep. It doesn't mean they'll win, but that's how I feel. Dallas is in Denver. This is the big game of the day, I suppose. Right. Denver at home favored by 3.5.
I'm going to take the Cowboys. I hate to do this, but I'm going to. Dak Prescott's having an amazing season. 16 touchdowns, 3 picks. Whether it's Pickens, who has 6 touchdowns, Ferguson, who has 6 touchdowns, CeeDee Lamb is now back. Javonte Williams has almost 700 yards from scrimmage so far.
He looks like he did pre-injury when everyone was so excited about him in Denver.
Right. I think they've got too many weapons for Denver just merely to keep up. And I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm going to go with Dallas on the road to get the win.
How about them Cowboys? Right. I'll take them too.
Oh, God, it pains me to even think about that.
So while that game's going on, we can ignore this game. Tennessee is in Indy. The Colts favored by 14.5.
See, that's a big number, though.
Very big.
Yeah.
That being said, who you gonna pick? You're telling me you're gonna take Tennessee?
No, I'm going to take Indianapolis. And there's basically one reason why. Is because they're a run team. They're a run team. Now, Jeffrey Simmons is solid with 4.5 sacks, and he can get after the quarterback, but they're able to run the football, which is going to keep that pass rush back. I just really like I really like that Jonathan Taylor is, he's got like 11 touchdowns on the season already. If I'm not mistaken, he's got 10 rushing touchdowns. That I know. I think he had 1 passing. But Cam Ward looked better last week. He looked better. He's 25 of 34, 73.5% completion percentage, 255 yards. So he's looking for another week with 220-plus yards passing and a touchdown and better completion percentages. Tony Pollard sucks as a running back. They way overpaid him. He's not that good. Couple of touchdowns, but that's about the extent of it. But I'll take the Colts at home, but that's such a big number for the Colts to cover. What is it, 14.5?
14.5.
I'll take, you know what? I'm going to take Tennessee. Tennessee will cover. Tennessee will cover. That's 3 scores. You got to win by. I don't know if I can do that.
I will take Indy. I just am comfortable picking them. They're a defense run team that doesn't really go away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless the other team stops it, and I don't think Tennessee can. Monday night, Jaden Daniels is out. Washington's in Kansas City, and the Chiefs are favored by 12.5.
It's another big number.
Mm-hmm. It's a weird week.
Yeah. No Jaden Daniels. I'll go Kansas City to cover.
Likewise.
Plus, Washington's on the road, yada, yada, all that kind of stuff.
The Chiefs can score now.
And
they have healthy wide receivers.
Yeah, what they did with Rashee Rice in his first game back was like, wow, they just said, okay, you're back, let's go. And off they went. And so I'll take the Chiefs to cover in that game. By the way, speaking of games, no Cardinals, Lions, Jaguars, Rams, Raiders, and Seahawks. They're all on bye this week. So there you go.
And lastly, on Sunday Night Football, featuring our Green Bay Packers, they will be in Pittsburgh. And again, all these numbers ESPN bet because that's what I bookmarked. -3.5 Packers on the road.
I got a bad feeling about this game. I'm going to take the Packers to win and cover. I got a bad feeling about this game, though. I'll take them too. Tell you that now, but I'm going to take the Packers to win and cover. But there's something in my gut that's going, I don't know if you would want to do that. So
I'll take the Packers as well. I won't feel great about it, but I never feel great about it when I take them. Nothing new.
Right? I know. So that's it. Boy, that's fast. Holy crap, that thing flew by. That's our Wednesday Night Huddle. Man, thanks to Mike Clemens. Thanks to Mark Schofield. And hopefully you're following along and taking the opposite of what we take and making more money than we are this year via the picks. But at some point, you got to figure it's all going to start to come back to us. At some point. Maybe this is the week. Until we talk again tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Time on many